are doing. We've developed a system, so to speak, that allows us to adjust these ads on the fly and keep the cost as low as possible.
Okay, and so when you say you have a system, is that system something that folks who are listening can go and purchase, and just with a click of a link, or do they need to already be a client of whybluematters.com?
They would need to be a client of Why Blue Matters. A lot of our systems and our methodology comes from just a lot of trial and error. And with the landscape constantly changing, with Facebook and Instagram changing their algorithms to adapt to these large audiences that they're building, you have to be very cognizant of what your posts are doing, as a regular poster or content creator, that is, and then on the side of somebody that's creating ads.
Okay, now you said trial and error, and this is something that I think in our profession, a lot of clients, they, especially if they've been burnt, they say, well, I've tried that, and, what you're saying sounds very similar. Are you doing your trial and error on clients' dime, or are these things that you've already perfected so you know that they're going to work? And if so, where do you do your trial and error stuff?
Okay, great question. A lot of the trial and error comes from just personally submersing oneself in social media. In order to best understand what you're getting involved with, you have to literally roll up your sleeves, roll up your pants legs, and figure out what these platforms are doing, how people are interacting, who some of the top content creators are, and look to adopt some of what's going on into your own personal message that you're looking to put out into the world. And on the client side, yes, we go into creating these strategies and these campaigns with a certain strategy in mind, but we of course have to be able to adopt and pivot on the fly if and where needed.
Okay. So you guys, when you hear that, you don't have to worry anymore about, well, so and so that I was paying X amount of dollars, said they could do the same thing. And that question came up with me with influencers. And I was telling you, someone who they couldn't even define influencers was told by someone else that they had influencers. And let me just say, a popular person in the city doesn't make them an influencer. And so really, folks, I think clients need to read like TechCrunch and different places, and they can even go to areyouthereason.com, which AL started. And I always tell people, there's not too much I can guarantee as far as placement because I don't own a platform, but I am a part of some. And areyouthereason.com is one of those that I can go and I can upload a client stuff if I so choose. Can you kind of talk about the guarantees that come with Why Blue Matters and what you guarantee and what you don't guarantee? Because I see more and more clients wanting guarantees and saying, I want this many followers, I want this much engagement, and they may not even know what engagement means. So what does Why Blue Matters guarantee?
Okay. Before we get into the guarantee part, just want to touch lightly on the influencer bit.
Mm-hmm.
With small brands, businesses looking to get involved in the influencer market, really do your research. Really understand what an influencer is and how that said individual can integrate with what your business goals are. And like you said, reading the tech crunches. I subscribe to a newsletter that comes out. I think every I want to say they do it every week or every couple of days. There's an app by the name of Later, and they allow people to schedule their posts, and they're pretty in tune with what's going on in the social media space. And to speak a little bit on influencers. Because a lot of influencers have grown so big and their costs have gone so high, a lot of them are out of reach for people that are starting up. So they recommend and they see a trend getting ready to start for what's known as a micro influencer, and that's somebody under 200,000 followers. This is someone that has more of a grasp of the people that they're engaging with. Their audience is real core, real tight knit, and literally, uh, they're literally, if for lack of a better word, um, being influenced by what the said influencer is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot easier on the pockets. A lot of times you don't have to pass through several gatekeepers in order to get to said influencer. So I encourage folks that are looking to get into this space, start looking at some of the micro influencers for sure.
Okay, especially if you got a micro budget.
There you go. There you go.
You know. So, but yeah, and then go into the guarantees, because I don't know if you hear that, yeah, still, but I just know that folks want to, what can you guarantee? I can guarantee taxes and death for you when you want them.
Right. So to speak on guarantees, what we really pride ourselves on, with a lot of agencies that we look up to, we consider ourselves a top player in the field. But where we start to stand out, we can guarantee that you're going to get a very creative strategy from us. You're going to get a great team that's going to be innovative. You're going to get a great team that's going to push the boundaries a bit and really allow a client from where they started to move that needle along and show some progress. Um, there's no real guarantee other than the hard work that the brand itself has created, and the brand coupled with whatever PR marketing agency that they have paired up with to take themselves to the next level. It's really competitive. There's a lot of opportunity out here, and folks are taking advantage of this opportunity. You can't just think, I got this business, I got these products, that you're just going to go out here and by the drop of a bucket make $1 million.
Yeah, and a couple $1,000s doesn't turn your efforts into $1 million. I think sometimes companies, especially the smaller ones, or even your independent artists, they come and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna rustle up this first month of money," and think that you'll become part of their sales team. And pay yourself, or if you're that good, why don't you show me what you can do? And I always let people know, it's funny, you never told that to the massage parlor or the dope boy. If your stuff is that good, let me get a hit first and eat both situations, and then I'll pay you if it's that good. And I surely know I went through school and finished that master's program so I could not be compared to what a prostitute or a dope boy on their product. And I don't know if that makes sense, but I gotta just make it for the common person.
Perspective, absolutely.
Because you can't taste this over here and see this isn't that. And so with Why Blue Matters, and you have Are You the Reason, and even the Blutiful magazine, which I just love how you did that, because I remember making your own platform so you could guarantee that your creative stuff can go somewhere. Where do you see the future as far as your media company, for the media piece of it? What are you going to do in the future? And, how can people reach out to you and get placement in that?
Okay, yeah, great. All great questions. This saying, my parents, my grandparents, they've always told me this, God bless the child who has his own. And by that, it's very good to have expectations of wanting to reach and get on major platforms. But there's steps, there's levels, and until one can literally work themselves to that point, you have to start somewhere. You can't pick up a microphone and say you're the best rapper if nobody knows you're the best rapper, or start a business and think that your Facebook or your Apple or your Amazon overnight. Got to start somewhere, and the best way to do that is to create as much as you can in as many different formats possible. Distribution is the key. The more distribution points you have, the more people that you reach, undoubtedly. And why Blue Matters through the Argue the Reason platform, through Beautiful, has allowed us to create additional voices for folks that are just looking to be seen and also looking to be heard. And where I see us going in the future is having the ability to create more content, create additional content without having to rely so much on other folks. We like to keep it in-house as much as possible without having to have it pass through too many hands. And just create, whether that's short form, whether that's long form. We want to be able to position ourselves not only on our own websites, but be able to leverage the audiences that we're creating on social media and pointing back to those platforms for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's going to become part of, I mean, even the bigger companies, I mean, Nike could do Nike Radio if they want it, you know, and all these places. And it's all about having your own, because at the end of the day, you don't want to pay somebody. Everything, you know, is becoming, you know, payola and paid placement, and people think that you're going to pay for their domain name and their hosting through the month. And it's like, if I have traffic coming, I don't need to do that. And I remember doing that over a decade ago with Too Hot Radio and Too Hot Magazine and Too Hot TV. And I promise you, I never really cared about anything else. There was one other website that I wanted placement on. It cost too much for us, but it was out in Germany. And it was kind of like the World Star of its day. But, and I can't even think of the name of it, and I'm sure they're not around. But, you know, you're in the hub, New York City. You're doing all this work. You're meeting. How do you network in New York? Like, what is that networking like? Because you are a computer guy. You are in the virtual world, but you're right there in the city. So you probably just, I mean, I've seen pictures with you and Gary Vee. I've seen, you know, you could probably just fall into Trump, you know, at the tower. How do you network in NYC, being online and being at I mean, really, that's the capital of the United States. You got to go to New York. If you ain't been to New York, you ain't been to the United States.
I hear that. It's so funny that you should say that, because starting off, I spent so much time trying to understand social media that a great deal of my networking just took place on social media before Why Blue Matters became the hybrid creative agency that it is. First started off on the blog side, and you know, Twitter hadn't been around a long time, and Twitter was a place where you can tweet some of your favorite people, and they're responding back to you no problem. So I was like, oh my, I saw this as an opportunity, and I kid you not, I was spending probably anywhere from maybe 4 to 6 hours after work every day on Twitter, just connecting with folks. And I was like, there's definitely something to this. And I literally used those connections to create content for the blog. And after a certain amount of time, it went from me reaching out to folks to the inbox just being flooded with inquiries from all types of PR agencies, all types of advertising agencies, looking to get placement on Are You the Reason.
Wow. And that's awesome, because that's hope for the person who, when we started, we were, you know, my Rich was from Atlanta, but we were in Grambling. There was no networking. Everything was online. So every connect that we made was an online connection, and that's why I respect people with websites and who are already working. And that was with the Too Hot platform. But it's hope for that kid in Nebraska, especially for minorities, with, you know, everything that you have to go through as a minority, and to say there's no hope. Because I'm from the NOLA, you know, I'm from the 504. But you can get on this computer, learn this game, and reach out to, you know, some Jews out in Brooklyn. and you know, so that's hope in the future, we living in the future. You could be anywhere and make this money. So that's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. With being in New York though, and you have so many colleges and you have an expertise, where do you see your future going? Because you could go from teaching, and becoming like a Dr. Boyce of technology.
That would be pretty cool. I never really thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was the kid growing up that was fortunate enough. I was in private school. Like my love and my affinity for technology came at a very young age. I was in elementary school learning about like MS DOS. I mean, you don't even need to really need to know that stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
You're really trying to get deep into the programming and stuff like that. But it was just from the basic foundation of MS DOS that I've really garnered a love for computers and technology, and kind of just took that and just spent a lot of time just understanding computers. It's like people are like, well, how do you know how to do this? It's like you just teach yourself this. Like there's not a you can go to a college course, get a certificate, but nothing really beats just spending time learning and understanding this tool that you have, learning and understanding Google. I mean, there was no YouTube at the time. I mean, I was freaking looking this stuff up on Yahoo, around the time where there was
Hotmail
and Hotmail and the Netscape and all these other guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I never thought about it. I mean, I truly have a love for technology, and I'm very curious to see where things go. I would love the opportunity to impart some of this knowledge. There's so much stuff in this noggin that I know that I would love to share, that I would love to talk about with folks, understand their perspective, because that only helps me grow.
Yeah. Well, I was throwing the nugget in because, with platforms like Udemy featuring people like Dan Rather, who's iconic. And when I saw Dan Rather recently have he did a media course on there, I said, if Dan Rather is on Udemy, my goodness, anybody can be on Udemy. Because before, you didn't really have big names like that on there. You just had people who, they were experts in their field, some of them, but you didn't really know. But, to really be teaching this in a cool way, because I've done the teaching in grad school, and I did it after grad school, and teaching is cool in college. Let me say, in high school and middle school, you can miss me with that, unless, I got to come on my own terms, and there may be some crazy ones. I may have to come in with a bulletproof vest just to let the kids know. Y'all, whatever y'all got, I'm ready for. But, like Digital Underground, kiss me and I kiss you back. Young Draco style, So we're not playing nowadays with kids, and I love kids, and I love being able to put back out there. But, when you were talking about the MS-DOS and not having a need, I was having a conversation with some people who were saying how HTML is irrelevant now to know, and how, because of places like Wix and Squarespace and WordPress, you don't really need to know how to build a website from scratch. And I would argue that because some people just catch on to that. And if you can catch on to those basics, you're then the one who creates a website like Xmine, where you can take a Ruby on Rails program and transfer it into any other language. And and so I see there's value. Now, does it take 3 times as long for most people? Heck yeah. But if you can learn it at a young age, it's good, because in the future, we know that McDonald's isn't going to have too many employees. Taco Bell either, which is going to be an awesome thing, but it's also going to be where are the minimum wage workers going, and where are the kids who are trying to get experience? They're going to have to know some type of coding, even on a very basic level.
Oh, absolutely. The author by the name of Dan Pink wrote a book maybe I want to say maybe almost 6 or 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about uh, how people should be very concerned, and they should really be picking up technical skills all over again, because automation is going to replace a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Pick up a technical skill, but you should pick up some type of creative skill as well, because those jobs will never run out. There will always be a need for someone of that type.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, and that's why I think with what we do, we always have to keep adding skills, because I really see a future where even placements. Right now, you can send to the press wire, and they can, choose to open what they want to open and see what fits. But I think even for the people who pick, robots can change that. Where
all this artificial intelligence, man. Yeah, they make this bots for everything now.
Yeah. And when you send something to Forbes, it's gonna, transfer it and say, well, does this hit? Do they hit the numbers before they even open the email? The email is gonna let them know what company this is, how big the company is, what their numbers are, because we know, like Forbes and Wall Street Journal, it's all about numbers. They don't care nothing else about that. So when you try to, you can still sneak that in and hit somebody up and say, hey, we don't have the biggest numbers, but this is why it's unique. But robots are going to replace a lot of this, and won't be a terrible thing, because I think the more technical we can get, the less that we have these people who charge $300 to run people's Facebook. We see them all day in the Czar group, and they're like, oh, yeah, $300 special to run your Facebook. And I'm like, you must already be rich. But, you're doing charity work, $300 to run a Facebook. Or what are you really doing? But we see the caliber. But it'll be interesting to see what the future holds. Give us some of that insight on where do you see technology going, and how are you going to adapt to it?
Really great question. I spend a lot of time reading TechCrunch on a site called PRTALK, just really getting a lay of the land as a whole. And what I'm starting to notice globally is that where there were, I guess, seemingly discriminatory situations, there are groups starting to uprise to cater to certain demographics. So it's becoming more niche. I see technology becoming very, very niche. And in the long term, there's a lot of companies in India, companies in Asia, doing their version of Uber for their people. Not to say that it's being racist. It's just that there's this certain groups of people are underserved. So where the people are underserved, people are developing services to make sure that their needs are met, and nobody is slighted.
Man, it's coming, and it's not. No, that's not racist at all, because certain cultures do things different ways. I'm waiting for Uber to introduce the combi buses that I would take in South Africa, where it's the big Scooby-Doo bus, like the Volkswagen bus.
Right.
And just pick people up like that for even cheaper. Because, they already do the, you can share it with a friend or even a stranger. But if you come in the big combi bus and it's even cheaper, and you're allowing people to run a business kind of their way. Because I'll be honest, some people, they need to get to work, and they only got, $1.25 for a day.
It could be their first day on the job, and they only, like you said, they only have $1.25, but they got to get to work.
Yeah. So that, and I could see like everything, a black Uber, not the black Uber that they have now, but a real black Uber that might be 15 minutes late, but at the same time, it's not charging you as much too. Like, hey dog, I'm going to get my kids, and I'm going to be there kind of when I'm going to be there, but you get it. For someone who's not in a rush, especially going to the club, black Uber's coming, a little late, and it may even have, a meal for you, because he had to go pick up a meal to deliver somewhere else. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out, because African time is a lot different than European time. And, the whole thing in Africa is with the Uber type situation is, most people can afford a driver who can afford an Uber. And so if I can afford a driver, why would I not just get the driver for the day? I mean, I paid like $50 a day for a driver. To have a driver, a brother from America for $50, it wasn't like a lavish car, your old Nissan that your aunt used to have, but the seats were clean. But you're like, I got the driver, I'm chilling. And so, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. And even the Airbnb situation, for those who are living kind of in even the projects, man, can I rent out my projects to let the homeless come in for a night? Because I'm always thinking out the box on how can Airbnb help the homeless even more, or how could we house the homeless and let it be a charity donation. Because when it starts snowing, I don't know how y'all do it in New York. Y'all are set up for it. Out here in Seattle right now, man, I'm praying for them. It's a jacked up situation because they're homeless, and technology can help that somewhat, not all the way, because there's some things that happen in homeless shelters that technology is gonna be hard to to fix behavior, unless we shoot them with lasers. But I don't want to put you on that. They'll be like, who is this guy talking about shooting homeless with lasers? I'm talking about shooting everybody with lasers, man. Kids, everybody, but no, I can't wait. I can't wait. So for the future for Why Blue Matters, like I'll say for my company, Coleman PR, CPRfirm.com, I see me going into the lobbying angle just because there's a lot of connections. And that's what I am. I'm a connector, whether you're in Botswana or Nairobi or wherever. Where do you see the future going for Why Blue Matters?
Oh, my goodness. I would like to be honest with you, be more of a really good. That's a really good question. Probably today. This may change in the next couple of weeks or so, but today, for the purposes of this conversation, I would have to say the future of Why Blue Matters. It would have to be some type of hybrid multimedia group for sure, where you're talking about you have part of the house that handles representation, you have part of the house that's producing content, you have part of the house that's doing the marketing and branding for folks. You're talking about part of the house that's doing social media. It just needs to be just a robust service toward a specific industry for sure.
Okay, and I see that. I can definitely see that because Why Blue Matters being black owned, and us taking ownership, like Tidal, taking ownership of stuff more and more, even though black folks, when they get money, don't always use black folks, which is amazing. But I hope with talking about it more and more and calling people out too, and you need to call them out, it changes. But that's the thing, because what you're really talking about is a system, and it's similar to my vision of, I think you guys probably would want to be bigger than I could vision myself without removing myself, because ownership is a big thing to me. And right now, if I'm not owning something, I'm really not interested. Like, you got to think, after you make money and you know how to make money, what's important. And I'm so tired of dealing with not having a full stake. I want to be like, hey, I own this too. And yeah, you guys, this pays me, but I have ownership. So through that ownership, whether it be a multimedia platform or it be a pianist, I need to be able to move that pawn on the puzzle.
Right.
And that's why if I'm more focused on things that are educational, things that I can bring people in and say, who can I pay? Because there's things that I want to create, especially in Africa. It'll be a shame the way Africa's moving right now, and more black companies don't get involved to even help African companies and partner up with them, because China's going to do it. I mean, they've been there already 20 years. They are going to do it. And here we are trying to convince people that we went to school, hey, we can do some, we can place, we can do this, we can do that. By now, if you can't see that vision, again, man, you need to take these Ray Charles, these ain't the Maybachs, but they close to it, and really push Africa, because the Bible tells us the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And Africa's been last on a lot of people's, vision boards, especially black folk. And Africa is soaking up game. I know Akon's made himself $1 billion out there, not even just in music, but in his lights. And so we really have to, that's like our homeland, and they need us. And I don't want to say our homeland, because some people say, I ain't from no Africa. I ain't no African booty snatcher. I know, but you need to stay right here in America, because you're going to see what Trump has for you and other people. But I kind of want to be I don't want to say coastal, but that's what it is. But, I want to be everywhere. I want to be in South America as well, and kind of be able to jump ship. But it's a good vision. Do you do vision boards? Do you do Kaggle or any type of mind concepting?
More meditation than anything.
Okay.
Meditation, and my version of vision board is something that I picked up from as coupled with as a man. I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two. My vision boarding is a combination of Napoleon Hill and The Strangest Secret.
Okay.
I write stuff down on an index card, and I visited and I revisited, just try to etch it into the brain to manifest it as best as possible. Because if there's one thing aside from there's goals that an individual wants to hit, it's being able to develop your mental tenacity. And I mean, there's so much stuff going on that's distracting you. Life gets in the way, the whole bit. But it's being able to maintain your composure and being able to maintain your focus on what it is that you really want to attain and accomplish. Those that are able to stay the course regardless of what happens, those are the people that truly succeed, for sure.
Man, and that's real talk, because it's hard, especially when you're gifted and you have talents, and things don't they don't happen overnight. And I love when I hear young people like 20 something, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna say, didn't you just drop out of school? Yeah. But you dropped out of school, which shows me that you could not commit to something you said you were going to do. I'm from the old school. If you say you were going to do it, you did it. And so, even playing Little League, you couldn't quit mid-season, and unless, the coach did something to you. I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, but I've just never quit anything. Okay, so that's your vision board, and you're a writer too. So, I mean, talk about the book. How close are you to being done?
I'm working on two pieces conjointly. Over the past, I want to say 4 or 5 months, have dove back into creative writing, and I'll tell you, one of the best things that I've ever could have done for myself. Because you know how you have certain things that you grew up doing and you really like doing, and you kind of get away from it. So I spent these last 4 or 5 months just writing, and I get a chance to display these thoughts on Instagram, interestingly enough, and I've built up a nice core following where people are pretty much chomping at the bit on what's going to be the next post.
Yeah.
For the most part. So I call this series on Instagram Love Notes by ALR. and pretty much it's from the perspective of a hopeless romantic to his muse, and he's often writing to his muse in hopes that in an almost collateral beauty Will Smith kind of style to manifest his love into reality, so to speak. And he's often writing to her in this soliloquy type format, either through poetry or in his random thoughts looking at the sky.
I gotta give you a Noriega. you know, because I mean, and you're married, but there's a lot of women who, when they're looking for that, right? Like, I'm talking about real women. I'm not talking about thoughts or anything. Rent those and return them. But women who are like poetry, like, where are the guys who do that? And there are people who are still writing poetry. The real question is, do people read, respect, and then, you know, can they relate to real feelings? Because everything is so quick right now. I know my wife is like, could you please write some more? And just write. And depending on where you catch me, my stuff wasn't all, some of the stuff was beautiful, but some of it was, I mean, damn near illegal. You know, and I got to put that stuff out there too and let you know. If I look at my old notebooks, I'm like, dang, well, statute of limitations is up on that. You know, and I can be like, okay, I can let this be out. And we always know a writer, you know, doesn't really get the respect that they deserve until they pass, but you can get some, you know, accolades and whatnot. So no, that's beautiful. So when do you plan on releasing anything this year? I know last year you released a book. Folks can go on Amazon and type in, you know, Andre Roberts and find your and Tyson Moultrie's book. But are you going to release another book this year?
Absolutely. So the plan is to, of all the pieces that I've compiled, either about the sky or some of like the poetic prose pieces, compile all of those and release it in an easy to read format on Sweetest Day. I was initially hoping to do it for Valentine's Day, but I wasn't the most content where the writing was going. It's getting progressively better. Mm-hmm. Now that I have probably over 150 pieces, I'm now in a place where I can just compile the best of the best and release that on Sweetest Day. Once I get that together, the next goal is to fine tune this self-help book I've been working on for the greater part of probably like 6 or 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What's taking so long on that book?
The duration on that one has just been life experience, and just acquiring the knowledge to literally articulate these thoughts. You know how you have these divine inspirational moments that are just, these thoughts are just so grandiose that it's not yet ready to be released to the world. And so now, you know, after about 6 years of kind of tinkering with this concept, it's going to be pretty magical for sure.
Okay, and I get that. Some folks, that's gonna fly over their head, but I get that, because after this children's book, and I have 22 books that, I mean, I'm ready to roll. My illustrator, I'm about to drive him crazy, because you know, it to me it's just, okay, put the money up and can it be done, but it also has to be right. But I have another book that I've actually been offered money not to release, it deals with men and their issues. I don't want to say what it's called, because, but it deals with men and their issues with women, especially with, you know, sites like Ashley Madison, whatnot. And I've gone through some of the scenarios, and guys who are still single or even married, can you not put that out? But the women want it bad. They want to read it. Yeah. And my wife loves it. You know, for what she's seen, she loves it. But it's also, is the world ready? Because I think with all this technology, people are being less and less truthful. And can this book help someone out? At the end of the day, it's supposed to help and not hurt. It's not to teach a man how to get away with it. I mean, this ain't OJ. If I would have did it.
Right.
But I think there's some real issues with men and women and how, both are treating each other, and why people are doing what they're doing, as far as even not getting married. I mean, saying, forget it, I'm going to just play the field or string someone along through their greater years, and then I'm going to upgrade later on. And men are good at that. So, but this book, I'm ready, but when the world is ready, and I'll know, discernment will tell me, because this book will go through the churches too. And
there you go with that.
Yeah, because the church is for the sick, so I know that they need it, but it's just timing, timing. Well, I know in a conversation that the audience will only pick up about 2 things, and then they're gonna have to rewind and what did they say on that, and that sounded good. So I'm not going to let this video go too long, because I want them to be able to write some notes. Some things were so deep. Some things folks are going to take so they can go tell their woman and say, yeah, I'm writing you notes and writing a book about our love, because and they're not going to say that they heard anybody say that, but they're going to say, yeah, and they're going to put it on social media for their love, for their boo, But I was about to say, because they don't want to be like their last baby daddy, but let me not.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But no, I appreciate the time, man. We're going to do this again and again, because I'm always thinking about when I'm not here, whether that be physically or if I'm just, on a cruise ship like KRS-One, writing a book, for 14 days or longer. And so we're definitely going to talk. WhyBlueMatters.com. That's how you can contact AL. Check out areyouthereason.com. And you can catch them. Give your social media real quick, Al.
The best way to keep up with me would be through the handle AL Artistry. That's ALRTISTRY.
Man, I appreciate it. We will talk, my brother. Until then, be blessed. Enjoy that New York sky view that I see. Woo! I'm looking at my view like, dang, I see snow, but I don't see people like that. And I'm not jealous, but I can't wait to see New York again. So
I'm gonna get ready to hit this gym, get my mind right, get wellness on.
For sure. Well, you be blessed. Stay tight. We'll wrap for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Lundy Lund, why are you guys not having quiet time? You're not in your room, you're not. You're out.
I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Yes, sir.
Will be recorded.
All right.
Oversell, come on, try that out, right? You'll get a clue. But hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's a great day to be alive. A lot of people blessed fortunate to do it all over me.
Yeah, you guys can't say this, condo things, man, and all of it. So, talk to that. Let's see. Okay. You guys should get one of those places. Social media last night, and you were talking to someone, what social media